My name is Lara, and this is my cognition and oral presentation on secure attachment to mother and children psychological adjustment, the mediating role of pet attachment. The research article focuses on the cognitive principle of attachment theory. When children perceive responsive and sensitive care, their caregiver becomes a secure base and a safe haven, therefore establishing a secure sense of attachment. Children will more easily develop positive representations of themselves and relationships with others, internalizing positive and adaptive relational models. When a child is not provided with a secure foundation, they are more likely to develop insecure relationships, avoiding requests for comfort and closeness, however focusing more on exploratory behaviors. Alternatively, children will intensify requests for closeness and almost demand contact to be given by their caregivers. Research has primarily focused on parents, mothers in particular, as the attachment figure. However, from the perspective of multiple attachments in middle childhood, the child may also form attachment relationships with other family members, such as siblings and grandparents, non-parental figures, such as teachers and friends, and as recent research suggests, non-human figures, such as their own pets. Literature suggests that stronger attachment to a pet is associated with several health benefits, such as emotional, social, and cognitive outcomes, and as research suggests, potentially having a greater impact on a child's psychological well-being. By psychological adjustment, the study refers to a degree of psychological well-being characterized by an individual's ability to adapt to change in their environment by demonstrating the ability to cope with stresses and exhibit low levels of emotional distress and behavioral problems. When a child's needs for closeness, affection, comfort, and protection are not being met in their relationship with human caregivers, they may develop a stronger attachment to a pet in order to satisfy those needs, therefore compensating for deficiencies with human attachment. As research has demonstrated, it is important to understand the influence of secure attachment to a child's developmental needs, as it is a protective factor in children's social, emotional, and cognitive development. In this study, the quality of a child's attachment and their level of adjustment will be explored with three hypotheses. One is the perception of greater security in the attachment with the mother associated with better psychological adjustment in the child. Two is a secure attachment relationship with the mother associated with lower attachment to the dog. And three are higher levels of attachment to the dog associated with better psychological adjustment. This study is a cross-sectional study with a convenient sample of 136 participants from northern Italy that owned a dog or dogs. There were 68 children made up of 64.7% female and an average age of 9 years, and 68 parents made up of 70.6% female and an average age of 41 years. The questionnaire design was composed of 4 questionnaires divided into 2 sections. Section 1 consisted of background information and Section 2 consisted of self-reporting measures. Children were asked to respond to 2 self-reporting measures, the security scale and the dog attachment questionnaire, and parents were asked to respond to the strengths and difficulties questionnaire. The children's questionnaires were modified accordingly for child-friendly use. The results supported hypothesis 1, as the children reported security in the child-mother relationship is related to better child psychological adjustment, where perceived security was found to be associated with fewer emotional, behavioral, and hyperactivity problems and fewer problems in peer relationships. The results supported hypothesis 2, confirming the attachment to the dog is less strong when the basic needs for safety, security, and support are met in the relationship with a human caregiver. And the results supported hypothesis 3, confirming a stronger attachment to the dog may compensate for unmet needs for closeness, security, and emotional and social supports in the relationship with the parents. Some limitations include the study being a cross-sectional study, where future research could consider longitudinal studies to learn how attachment relationships are developed. The sample focus was on children in middle childhood. Future studies could compare children and adolescents at different developmental stages. The self-reporting measures are susceptible to response bias. Future studies could use other instruments of measurement, such as direct observation of behaviors or external observers. And this research had a focus on a child's psychological adjustment as the general measure of psychological well-being. Future studies could examine more specific aspects such as quality of life, cognitive, emotional, and relational development. For practical implications, it is important to promote a good bond with one's pet because it can strengthen the psychological well-being of children, especially when there are critical problems in the relationship between child and parent. In developing a stronger attachment with the dog, as well as caring behaviors, should be promoted by encouraging children to take care of their dogs, taking responsibility. Excessive attachment to a dog might prompt caregivers working with a child to reflect upon their quality of child-parent relationship, and if appropriate, an attachment-focused intervention could be initiated to promote better psychological adjustment in children.